On a cold winter morning in Chicago, 32-year-old Ethan Brooks stood on the rooftop of a 20-story office building. His expensive suit couldn't hide the exhaustion on his face. His company was collapsing. His marriage had ended. His father had passed away 6 months earlier. And despite having everything he once dreamed of, Ethan felt completely empty. His phone rang. He looked at the screen. It was his younger sister. He pressed decline. "I don't have the strength to talk to anyone," he whispered. As he turned to leave the rooftop, he noticed an old maintenance worker repairing a broken light. The man smiled warmly. "Tough morning?" Ethan forced a smile. "You could say that." The old man nodded. "I've learned something after 68 years of life. When life becomes the darkest, never make permanent decisions based on temporary pain." Ethan didn't respond. He walked away. The words stayed in his mind. The next day, Ethan received a phone call from a law office. The attorney informed him that his late father had left him a small wooden box. Confused, Ethan drove to the office. The box looked old and ordinary. Inside, there was only one envelope. Across the front were handwritten words, "Open only when you believe you've lost everything." His hands trembled. Slowly, he opened it. Inside was a letter written by his father. "Dear Ethan, if you're reading this, life has probably knocked you to the ground. I wish I could stand beside you. But since I can't, let these words do it for me." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. The letter continued. "When you were 8 years old, you fell off your bicycle. You cried because you thought you would never ride again. 2 days later, you were racing through the neighborhood with the biggest smile I'd ever seen. Pain always whispers, 'This is forever.' But pain is often a terrible liar." Ethan paused. He remembered that day. He smiled through his tears. Then he kept reading. Ethan took a deep breath and continued reading. "Son, success will introduce you to many people. Failure will introduce you to yourself." The words hit him harder than anything he had ever heard. His father continued, "If you're looking around and everyone has walked away, don't think you're alone. Sometimes life empties your hands only because it's preparing to place something better in them." Inside the box, Ethan noticed something hidden beneath the letter. It was an old photograph. He smiled. It showed him and his father building a small wooden birdhouse when he was 10 years old. On the back of the picture, his father had written, "We never built birdhouses because we needed them. We built them because someone else might." At that moment, something changed inside Ethan. For years, he had lived only to earn more money. He had forgotten what it meant to help someone else. The following weekend, instead of sitting alone in his apartment, Ethan visited a neighborhood community center. He volunteered to mentor teenagers who dreamed of starting their own businesses. At first, only 3 students came. A month later, there were 12. 6 months later, more than 100 young people were attending his free workshops. Then, something unexpected happened. One afternoon, a young man approached Ethan after class. With tears in his eyes, he said, "Mr. Brooks, 6 months ago I was planning to quit school. After hearing your story, I decided to stay. Next week I'll become the first person in my family to graduate." Ethan couldn't speak. He realized something incredible. His biggest failure had become someone else's greatest hope. That evening, Ethan looked up at the sky and quietly whispered, "Thank you, Dad." He folded the letter carefully and placed it back inside the wooden box. He finally understood. The letter was never meant to save his business. It was meant to save his life.